Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast. So, today is a very special episode. I have the chance to have the amazing Gary and Sue with me in the room. Hi, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
And today, so today we're going to do sort of a round table podcast rather than an interview. We met in a networking event, didn't we? And we really connect. And somehow the conversation went into speaking about our relationship with drinking alcohol. And we thought, wow, actually, we've got so much to share and such like a variety of experiences. We should record a podcast. So this is where it came from. And before we jump in and talking more about the topic, we'll introduce each other separately. We'll start with Sue, maybe. Would you like to introduce yourself?
sure. Hi, everybody, and thank you for having me here, Clem. I, I am a coach and mentor for ambitious women. I help them steer clear of overwhelm, minimize their mental load, and get real clarity and focus and direction in both their life and their business. I'm a really strong believer that as business owners, our life and our businesses are very much intertwined. So I bring both of those elements into my coaching and mentoring, just to make sure that, I help people build their vision for life
Mm.
and their business effectively in a simple, calm, clear fashion.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Shall we move on to you, Gary? Do you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you, Clem and Sue. Um, my name's Gary Taylor. I'm from Compass Coaching. I coach people around small business, sole trader type of people, midlife, who are maybe looking for a change in direction. Things are a bit stale, or things just aren't working. They're working too hard. They're not putting enough into the family, all the type of things that sole traders and sort of self-employed people go through. I just help them to reconnect with their lives, basically. I also am trained as an alcohol-free performance coach, although I'm not fully alcohol-free myself yet, so I'm not quite practicing.
Excellent. Well, we're diving into that because this is very, very interesting actually about your situation. And that shows like that all is possible with a variety. So you're getting three coaches today for the price of one. As I'm also a coach, I coach particularly entrepreneurs, female founders who want to achieve more stability in their lives. So they basically feel that there can be more clarity. They can feel that sometimes that they're overwhelmed with self-sabotage. It could be perfectionism or people pleasing or procrastination, and they want to have a better life. And it's not only about the success of the business and the figures. Sometimes the business is going well, but there's something in them that's saying, there has to be more. I want more stability. So I think this is why, as well as coaching, this topic of drinking and the balance and our relationship with it particularly resonates with us. And I love the variety of the experiences that we have. So should we go back actually to Gary, and would you like to tell us a little bit more about what you just touched on? So you are trained as an alcohol-free coach, and yourself, you're on the journey, you are exploring less alcohol. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, when I started my training, the person I was training with is very, very big on alcohol free,
Yeah.
which worried me at the beginning because I wasn't looking for an alcohol free journey. Um, During the course of the training, I read a book which is called The Kindness Method by Sharu Zadi,
Mhm.
which is an interactive book where you're constantly having to write things down, plan things out.
Yeah.
It's quite involved. Um, and during the course of that, I had this thing that I wanted to control my drinking. Not, I never wanted to stop drinking, but just get it under control. So I knew I had it back where I wanted it.
Mm.
And through doing the book, it actually highlighted just how many of the issues and problems I have in my life are related around alcohol.
Ah,
Mm.
Everything seemed to go back to drink.
so it was that
And
awareness for you.
yeah, I mean, it completely sort of opened my eyes to the fact that, I mean, I suppose in reality, I knew I was drinking too much. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I was drinking way more than probably most people would.
Mm.
Which was it felt normal. I never really got that drunk. And it just sort of made me realize while I was doing the book that it's like this is way too much. It's
Yeah.
got to stop. I've got to get it under control. And then being on the course that I was on, the opportunity also came up to train as an alcohol-free performance coach, which I jumped at. I thought, yep, I want that under my belt anyway. And then the sort of more you do that, my relationship now with alcohol is pretty minimal. It's yeah. Where I used to drink probably 10 cans a night, every night of the week. Maybe a couple of shorts after. Now I can take it or leave it, really. And
Mm.
I have a lot of nights where I just don't want to drink. I can't be bothered.
Mm.
So it's completely spun it on its head for me. And I think in time, which is probably not that far away, I will go alcohol free.
Mm.
Um, Purely because I know the days when I'm not doing it,
Mm.
I can see the benefits. I
Yeah.
can see that I feel better. I feel lighter. I don't have this issue that I've like, oh, I've got to have a drink tonight. It's so much more under control now. And it gets to the point where I drink quite strong lagers. And even the taste of it is like, wow, that's really
Yeah.
strong compared to what I remember.
Mm. That
Sit
first sip is
I,
so
I
different, isn't
actually,
it?
yeah, I'll sit and struggle. I have some boys come round most nights, and they'll drink away. They'll smash their beers in, and I'll be sitting here with a can for over an hour,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here wondering why I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
So
it,
interesting.
yeah, that's sort of my relationship with alcohol. I mean, I've been drinking probably since I was 14.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Probably earlier at the dinner table with parents putting water in wine and sort of getting you used to the idea of alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Did you have that in France, Clem?
Not so much, actually. There was obviously always, almost always alcohol on the table, but particularly on the weekends. So I guess it feels very normal, but we didn't have
Yeah.
so much like, oh, let's put a little bit of wine in your water, or not that. But there is a sense of drinking is normal. And so when
Yeah.
I decided to go completely sober just to explore for a few years, that was really weird. Like, what? Like for my family, and I'm sure
Really.
you've had some experiences to share
Yeah.
also about that. And I think what's lovely about what you shared, Gary, and I think for people listening is that um, what I really want people to get out of this podcast is to see where they're at, so to explore themselves, their own relationship. And what Gary has described beautifully is you didn't realize a lot of the things made you open your eyes. So you actually have now more choice of what you want with your relationship, and not only what's been there as an automatic thing, as a cultural thing as well, as a habit, as this and that. And now you have
yeah,
an
I mean,
option more like can I
it's a terrible thing as a habit because, I mean, like most things, we do lots of things habitually.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And once you've done them for such a long period of time, trying to even just cut it down
Yeah.
is is really, really difficult. And you
Yeah.
you have to get your head in the space. You have to be ready to do it.
Absolutely.
Anyone looking to go on an alcohol-free journey, you've got to have made the choice. It can't be us telling you or someone else telling you, going, you need to give up drink, because
Yeah,
that's the last thing you're ever going to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
You have to have worked it out, which is, I think, really for me, the whole thing was that book. Is if I
Mm,
hadn't have read that book, I probably wouldn't have started this journey.
yeah.
And it's
oh,
it's
And I
made
think
me
it's really
want.
important to recognize that willpower on its own doesn't work either, does it? When we want to change
no,
any habit.
yeah,
No, I
Um,
mean, there's arguments for it that you could. Some people do. I mean, I know people who've smoked who've just gone bang and stopped. But I think you put yourself at a higher risk of not succeeding.
yeah,
mm, mm, I agree.
And
agreed.
I mean, this is sort of where coming in with people like ourselves as coaches, this is where if you're thinking of doing anything habitually that you want to change,
Yeah,
having a coach is a massive
Yeah,
bonus, because you've got someone on your shoulder helping you
for sure.
yeah,
and talking you through and walking you through. And it's everything like this is one step at a time. It's, don't try and jump off the cliff,
yeah,
you know, get a rope and climb down slowly. It's
agreed.
you just need to have that support. But I think the support equally is just as important to be from a stranger, if you like. And from
Yes,
coaching, we know we work in a completely unjudgmental space, and we're not there to judge you.
Yeah,
So that from that side of it, having a coach is just a massive bonus to help
yeah,
you change a habit of any sort of habit, really.
mm,
yeah.
yeah,
And we'll call you out on your excuses as well in a loving way. But
yeah,
well, I do anyway. I call
Yeah.
my clients out on their excuses because if they've paid me to support them in changing something in their life or their business, and they're still holding themselves back by making stuff up, or hiding behind those excuses, then I will call them out on it because that's what they're paying me for at the end of the day. It's no good me
Yeah.
going, yeah, yeah, that's fine, you crack on, because that's not going to help them
Well,
create
straight
change.
away, as a coach, you're offering accountability at the end
Yeah,
of everything.
exactly.
you do.
So
Yeah,
you can support without actually directly being there. It's like
yeah,
you've told me you're going to do this. When do you want to do it? You tell me when do you want to do it by, and
yeah,
when do you want to let me know you've done it by.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
So it's just that extra bit of support all the way through. And I don't know how you do yours. If I'm doing a set of 4 sessions, there'll be an extra 4 weeks afterwards with WhatsApp or email support.
yeah,
So the support doesn't just disappear. It's there to help. That's what we do, is we're there to
yeah,
help.
absolutely, absolutely.
And how did it all started for you, Sue? Did you have also this awareness moment of like, wow, I didn't realize, where I've, or, in which sort of place I got to? Like, tell us about you.
Yeah, I did. And I can tell you exactly when it was. We'd gone away for my husband's 50th birthday, and we were sat having a few glasses of wine and some tapas. It was lovely. It was such a lovely weekend away. But I remember being in tears. I was like, this has got to stop. So my dad, just sort of taking it back a step, my dad died at 56 from a heart attack, and he was quite a heavy drinker and smoker. Didn't have the best of diets. My mum cooked amazing home cooked food, but outside of the home, his diet wasn't great. Didn't move as much as he should have done. Was overweight. Typical sort of like tick all the boxes for somebody who's destined to have a heart attack, and he was ticking all of those boxes. So bearing in mind he was 56 and we were away for my husband's 50th, there was a sudden like, oh, that's only 6 years away. Well, it was a little longer for me. I am slightly younger than my husband, but still that turning 50 for him, I was like, wow, I need to do something about this. This is post-COVID, and I don't know about anybody else, but we had beautiful weather down here in South Devon during COVID. It felt like I was on holiday, having the beach on the doorstep, beautiful blue skies. So we were doing things like having a glass of wine with our lunch during lockdown because, you know, life was different. We were in this bubble, weren't we? And that really became, my drinking had already been, I wouldn't say it was out of control, but I was quite a heavy drinker even prior to that. And then I felt it did go a little bit out of control in lockdown. Um, and like Gary was sharing, I felt that alcohol was controlling me, not the other way around. I wasn't the one choosing to drink the wine or the gin or whatever. It was just very habitual. And most evenings I was ending up having a drink. So yeah, that weekend away was my turning point. And literally on the Monday after we'd got home, I signed up for a 30-day alcohol-free experiment. It was called an experiment rather than a challenge. I mean, it was a challenge, don't get me wrong, but they called it an experiment because it was about exploring relationships with alcohol and exploring why we get sucked into the narrative of this is normal. Because as you said, Gary, it is completely normal. You know, society, particularly in the UK, we are we socialize in pubs. We socialize even on the beaches here. People will have their cans of beer and cider and bottles of wine and so on. It's very, very, very normal. It's very ingrained in our society that that's what we do. When we socialize, we have drink. And so this experiment explored all of that. It explored all the marketing and advertising ploys and where money comes from for a lot of the alcohol industry and so on and so forth. And it really, like you, Gary, it really, really opened my eyes, not just to my own awareness of what was going on in my body, but just to the awareness in the outer world as well as to what was going on and why we were falling into this big black hole of drinking. So I did the 30 days, which, as I say, was hard. And I did definitely call on my willpower during that 30 days. Um, I actively chose to listen. They sent out daily videos and activities to do through this experiment that I was doing. And I actively chose to listen to those at 5:30 on an evening because that was the time when my craving would start to kick in. So I thought if I'm listening to something that's completely anti this craving, then I'm far less likely to follow through on that craving. And it worked. That strategy worked really, really, really well for me. And I did that 30 days and then I carried on beyond that. Um, and what I've realized is how much more energy I have when I don't drink. My sleep is so much more improved. I get so much more done in a day when I haven't been drinking, particularly if I haven't drunk for a period of time. It's almost like compound interest. The longer you do it for, the more benefit you see. And like you, Gary, I'm not completely alcohol free at the moment, but I am very much able to say no. Like New Year's Eve this year, I did not have a jot. I didn't even have a sip of champagne or anything on New Year's Eve. And that was because I didn't want to. I completely chose that that's how I wanted my New Year's Eve to be. I wanted to wake up on New Year's Day feeling vibrant and alive and ready for the new year ahead. And and so yeah, that was my choice. And that's my relationship with alcohol now. We went away with friends just before Christmas who are really heavy drinkers. I mean, I would have been keeping up with them in the past, but I've been away with them 3 times or 4 times now as a non-drinker.
Mm.
And I really don't, it really doesn't bother me. They can crack on and, pour the wine down their necks. And I'm like, I'm fine with this elderflower fizz. Thanks very much. And I might have a glass or two of wine over that weekend. Um, but I don't feel the need to be getting absolutely wasted in the hot tub and feeling like death following morning, which is what most of them are doing. So I feel really proud of myself, actually, and I think you should too, Gary, and you, Clem, as well. We should feel really proud of ourselves for bucking the trend
Yeah.
and choosing our health and our lives and our businesses because it's had a massive positive impact on my business as well by not drinking
Yeah.
because I've got clarity. I haven't got brain fog. I'm, not trying to run a business with half a brain. I've now got a full capacity to run a business.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, that bucking the trend is not easy, but oh my God, it's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. You've unpacked so much little nuggets there. One thing that I'd like to go back to a little bit is how we get to those places. And I think it's important, like Gary was saying, and you said too, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like suddenly it's there. I think it's so important to remember this is very addictive. I've had a very addictive relationship with food where, in my life, or in that I think this was my main go-to for compensation over like a long time. And that's why Gary said as well, like this could be this for you, or it could be something else. We tend to have a go-to, I think, for to compensate, to feel better, and particularly around 6 p.m. Like he was saying, so this is the time that we watch, and we don't get to those places of bulimia or overeating or overdrinking in one go. It's addictive. So the product itself, same with smoking, creates
Mm.
that, the resistant, you're more resistant to it over time and over time and over time. And I remember like drinking, I wasn't necessarily drinking every day, but I could drink all night and, like, and get down a lot of drink and feel completely normal with it and needing more because the
What
more,
felt like normal then it doesn't
exactly.
yeah,
And it's like, and the more you drink, the more you need more drink to get to feeling, that sense of like lightness or fun or whatever you're looking for. And now, and that's why I'd love to hear your thoughts about. It's like I don't need it anymore. Like I don't want to feel drunk anymore. Like, and then when I get
yeah,
there after my second glass of wine, I'm like, oh no, this is weird. While you're so habituated to it
yeah,
before. It's like, did you get that too?
yeah,
Um, yeah, but yeah, and I mean the other thing you got there is science to back all of this up
Mm, mm,
that tells you it's. I haven't got the research in front of me, but it is a fact that alcohol is the most addictive drug, and it
yeah,
sits in a band of depressants. It's
yeah.
actually more addictive than heroin.
okay.
It's
Do
more
you think that's because
addictive.
it's more accessible as well, though?
Probably, but I mean, it was done. I think the research originally was done by Professor David Nutt,
Yeah.
Oh,
who
yeah, I know the name. Yeah,
now conveniently sells alcohol-free drinks, which I
yeah,
have to say are quite nice. So I would recommend them. Um, but when he did his research, it was all covered up because the
yeah.
government
That's
couldn't
it.
have
The alcohol companies have
alcohol,
hidden a lot of stuff,
number
haven't they?
one
Latest.
addictive drug in the country and in the world.
Yeah,
You're putting it in with opiates. It's a depressant. It's so
yeah. It's a weird
where
one, isn't it? Because
you get
it's a
this initial
stimulant and a
high.
depressant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get this
Sorry, Gary.
initial high, and you've got one part of your brain that will balance. You sort of go into this stimulated mode,
Yeah.
then another part of your brain will try and bring you back down a bit.
Yeah,
The bit that puts you up there depletes quicker than the bit that brings you back. And they just once you start drinking, they just never meet.
yeah.
Mm.
So that's why you drink more is because you're always trying to chase that
Oh,
high
right.
part of
Catching
it.
that. Okay.
It's to do with dopamine, isn't it? I think
Yeah,
that your dopamine levels, your natural dopamine levels will drop the more alcohol you drink. And so to bring you into a more jolly state, um, you have to drink to get you back to a homeostasis in your dopamine levels. So yeah, hence why it's so addictive because you feel bad, like emotionally bad when you're not drinking, and you feel better when you are drinking because you've basically disrupted your hormones in your body.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then in the morning, your
Yeah,
headache, your crash, is all the chemicals in your mind
Yeah.
yeah,
still trying to balance themselves out.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it takes a while. It does take a while for that. Anyone who's had a hangover knows it can last. an hour, it can last at lunchtime, it can last a day, it can last 3 days. It depends
But
how
it's where
much.
the whole phrase "the hair of the dog" comes in as well, isn't it? Because the
Yeah,
whole idea is when you have the hair of the dog, you're then
you
getting yourself back into that
start the spike again.
homeostasis.
Yeah,
But is not a good place. Isn't You're not in a good homeostasis, but it's back to what your body knows as
yeah,
homeostasis.
Yes.
yeah,
And yeah,
And that's why it feels
um,
so normal and habitual. For me,
yeah.
mm,
the light bulb moment or the turning point was having a headache after a glass of cider. I was like, what? This is ridiculous. Well, it was over Christmas 2021. So obviously there had been loads more drinking in that week and rich foods and etc. And I was like, no, no. And sick of it kind of thing. And I went, no, I went cold turkey. I went like, no, I'm going to try not drinking at all and see what happens. And and after that, also got pregnant, breastfed, etc. So I went for a long period of time sober. And it's only this October this year that I stopped breastfeeding. So I was like, oh, I can have a glass of wine now. Do I want to? So I just really explore that and go, right, let's see, where the pleasure starts, where it stops, and just see where I'm at with it. Because it felt like something that I could do. So there was a sense of like, oh, I've got the freedom to do that now while I've not been drinking for 4 years. Did I miss it? Not really. Did I want to try it again? It was a bit of a weird, yeah, I'm not even like being super clear with how I explain it. But I was like, okay, let's see if we can do things differently. I think this is where I was coming from.
yeah.
And when you went back drinking,
Yeah.
how did you feel?
So so initially it was like very little. I was like, okay, I just wanna, I don't want to mess up with it. I don't want a headache. Or, my body's not used to it anymore. So I went really like very small, and I was like, oh, this is actually really nice. I love it. I love a glass of red wine, so I enjoyed, good wine, etc. And one night, it was the first night also I went out on my own with a friend with our baby. So it was like, a big celebration after so long. I had one, I had two, and then I had three. And oh my gosh, the night was awful. Not as in like drunk or anything like that, but I had like heart palpitations that I never had before. I was like, all right, you went too far there, like definitely. And it was, I think I was a little bit like influenced and into the thing, but then I recognized it again, like this is a moment I've not been able to listen and to be tuned in well to me. And
You are now because you've gone through the period of time of not drinking. You're more tuned into that, aren't you?
yes, yes.
Yeah,
But even then, I had this little episode going, oh, okay, let's reset the boundaries there. This is, uh, and now it's more like, oh, on the weekend. But I always go, and which is very different to before, which was just like a default thing. Now I go, do I want one? Do I want one? No, yeah, not sure. So it's yeah, very similar to I think what you were describing you, Sue, in terms of like
yeah,
let's see. It's not maybe I want to, maybe I don't want to. And I don't get too awkward with like going out with people drinking either. And this is new. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's it's yeah, it makes I don't know about you, but I'm a bit like actually feel a bit smug when I go out with people and they're drinking and I'm like, well, I'll just have an alcohol-free whatever. There's a little sense of like, yeah, I did that. As I said earlier, I'm really proud of myself for making that change. Yeah, you watch people when they're drunk and you think, oh God, was I like that when I was drunk? Because yeah, I'm not feeling that that's a great place to have been, really.
Mm, mm, yeah. Yeah, I've never been like I can dance if I want to. I don't need to drink to dance and things like that. And I think it's a super cool thing to have the experience of like, no, I can be funny even if
Mm,
I've not been drinking, and that's a cool place to be. So
yeah,
I think if we like a little bit like recap what we talked about, I think we've insisted on the importance of for anyone going through this journey, the awareness. It's like taking
mm,
that time. Gary talked about like, the process of the book and how much that's helped him to see more, to open his eyes. Sometimes it's more of a light bulb moment or a turning point or a challenge of whatever shape or form that takes. That's always the first step, isn't it? What I'd love to ask you guys about is sort of maybe people you've worked with as well as yourself. And so you mentioned the tip of like, okay, when it's the right crucial time for you, what can you do instead of going for that drink if that's what you're trying to change? But for people trying to implement that change, and I think Gary has also talked about you're going transitional. You have you want to go explore the alcohol free, but equally you don't feel like the cold turkey option is going to work for you. So you're going with you two,
Yeah.
going more
I, I
transitional.
think, I mean, we something we do in the alcohol-free performance training is the ambivalent seesaw,
Yeah.
and it's you've got two worlds fighting each other in your head. It's I want to drink and I don't want to drink, and I want to do this and I don't want to do that. Um, and a lot of your fears come from peer pressure, social situations, um, and having lived it, the reality is really no one cares.
No.
You have this great fear that I'm going to go up to the pub and I'm going to ask for a Coke, and all my mates are going to turn around and go, "What's up with you?" The reality
I
is
did
they just
have
go,
that though.
"Oh, you're not drinking again." It's,
Yeah.
oh, you might get it the first time or the second time.
Yeah.
After that, most of them don't care, and they're actually quite supportive, to be honest. They're like, "Oh, no, you're not drinking again. What are you drinking tonight then? What is it? What flavour have you got?" And they show interest. I mean, I've got all the sentient drinks, and they well,
Yeah.
what is it? The questions? What is it? Well, I don't really know, but I
But it
like it.
tastes nice.
It tastes nice, and I can sit here and pretend I'm having a gin and tonic.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know how you all feel about it. I'm not one of these I can't bring myself to go for alcohol-free beers or alcohol-free wine. I
Yeah.
don't. I sort of
Yeah.
don't get it. If you're not going to drink, why do you want to pretend to drink?
I don't know. I did use alcohol-free alternatives as a means of helping me through that initial period.
Yeah,
Now I'm like you, Gary. I would much rather have um, like an adaptogenic drink or something that doesn't even try to replicate wine. I can't drink beer because I'm gluten free, so I don't need to worry about that.
yeah,
But actually, there's a really nice alcohol-free cider. Thatchers do a really good alcohol-free cider. You honestly would not know the difference. And on a hot summer's day, that really does sort of hit the mark. But yeah, I did use the alcohol-free alternatives for a while, but the wine is really not that good.
Yeah.
I've heard there are some really good beers out there. Um, and I guess it works for some and not so for others. And
yeah.
that's the
It's the
way of
cycle.
finding
Yeah.
your own groove and
Yeah.
yeah, finding what works for you really.
I
Yeah.
think that's the psychological part of it that you
Yeah,
have to. If I'm pretending I'm still drinking, it's sort of hitting the mark. I
Yeah.
mean, just as something that came to me then is something that was one of my triggers. I mean, we all have a sort of time of day that your drinking starts. Something I really noticed about myself was I power drink when I start.
Okay.
I'm thirsty. I probably most days when I was doing my previous job, I wouldn't drink much during the day. I might have three or four coffees. That'd probably be about it. I'd never had time to drink water. I didn't really like soft drinks. And I'd find myself getting a sort of 4:30, and it's like I need to bang 3 pints down my neck because I'm really thirsty.
yeah,
And I've even tried. I'd have 3 pints of soda and squash, and then have a beer, and then I can drink the beer slowly.
yes,
If I go straight on the beer, I'll still smash 3 pints of
yeah.
beer
Because you're
because
thirsty.
I've just hit that. It's not even about the drink. It's
It's just
about
the
I've got to
liquid.
quench the thirst somehow.
Yeah.
And that's how it starts, and that's how it gets worse. Because by the time, if you've smashed down three or four cans in an hour,
Oh, you're in it then, aren't you?
Yeah.
you're already started. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you will get to the point where I've quenched my thirst. Now I'm just drinking for fun,
Yeah.
and you carry on all night, and that's how
Yeah.
you
There's no
end up.
turning back from that point, is there?
No, you can't just turn it off. You'll then
No.
once you've had enough, you've had a fill of it. You'll then switch to your shorts or whatever you do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's yeah, I mean, it's I think it's recognizing all these triggers.
Yeah, and
You
Yeah.
anticipation, I think, is key there. And what Sue was saying about that non-alcohol free drink, that what the idea that came to me is that if that's going to work for you better than going for a smoke or going for a food, because that's what we don't want to that to happen. We don't want
Yeah.
that to be transferred onto another addictive thing, right? So
yeah,
Yeah.
we have to try and experiment, but I think the awareness of like what happened for my trigger specifically and how the whole cycle began enabled you to go, right, okay, because we know now that alcohol and coffee and tea, they actually make you dehydrated. So what
Yeah.
you were experiencing is that the whole day you hadn't had the fluids, and actually, as you were starting drinking your beers, you would still like get the dehydration. So then it needed to continue so that there was enough fluid. No, like it's a bit of a paradox.
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's
Yeah.
yeah.
interesting.
You just keep stuck in it. You've got to find your way out.
Yeah,
You
Is
have.
the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question for the
yeah,
pair of you.
yeah.
When you'd stop drinking, I mean, maybe this slightly different for you, Clem, because you gave up for purpose. You gave up for having a baby, and so that may be slightly different.
Well, the baby didn't arrive for another 3 years.
Right.
Three,
Okay. Did
2 years.
you have moments where you did have a drink? You deliberately, you consciously decided you weren't going to drink alcohol, but then you had your slip ups.
Oh, yeah.
You did?
I've definitely
Oh
had
yeah.
those.
So when
Definitely.
you had
I
your
don't
slip
remember. Maybe
ups,
maybe a glass here and there, but not nothing major. Tell us about your experience. So, yeah.
if were you day counting?
I don't day count
Uh,
because I know in my body what's going on. I
Mm.
Yeah,
did day count at the very start when I was doing
Yeah.
the 30-day experiment. Obviously,
Mhm.
I knew exactly where I was because I was in the midst of
yeah.
the 30-day experiment. And I did then count on after that. But this was November, where are we now? 2020. It would have been November 2022, if I've got my dates right. So we're quite a good way into it now.
Yeah.
So I don't really day count. Um, but I do know when I had my last drink. So I guess I do day count in some respects. Um, but not in a like conscious, like
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
diary or on an app or anything. But
Yeah.
I know that works for lots of people. It's just not a strategy that I've needed to use. But what I did do when I've had my slip ups is not blame myself and not get frustrated and not have guilt or shame or any of that. I was just like, well, that was a bit of a silly thing to do. I don't feel great today.
Mm.
Let's start again.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
just fresh slate. And it's the same with any habit. I mean, I used to do weight loss coaching with clients years gone by, and it's exactly the same, right? If you have a binge night, you can't carry it on into the next day.
Yeah.
If you've decided this is what you want to do, if you want to change things, you cannot carry it into the next day. It might not be a nice fresh Monday start. We all like a fresh Monday start, right? Or a New Year's start or whatever it is. But you just got to start the next day as if nothing happened the day
Reset
before and
button.
just right, park
Reset button.
that, let's move on.
Yeah. How about you, Gary? Did you find that helpful? Because obviously you are playing now with
I
I don't need to
yeah.
have a drink. So are
I
you
mean, to
aware of
me,
it or
to me, there's an importance in not punishing,
yeah.
Mm,
and this again comes out of the kindness method.
Mm.
Is if you, I think some people have to do it because they if they're day counting and week and month counting, and some people will fall off the wagon, have a drink, and then go, oh, back to square one.
mm,
Mm.
Some people it works for, some people it doesn't. I mean, to me personally, I think it's far better to sit there and go, I had a drink. I'm not going to punish myself for it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you went, I mean, you could sort of go a week of I've had a few drinks every night. Not what I did before, but I've had a few drinks every night. It's just one of those weeks. And then at the end of it, you just go, right, well, let's just get back on with it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
you've given yourself the power to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
find when you are drinking, when you have had those slip ups, you don't put the pressure on it.
Yeah.
Because if you put the pressure on it, to me, that makes it, you're going to make it worse
Yeah.
because you're then doing it to yourself as a punishment.
Yeah.
mm,
And plus, there
So
could be a risk, like you were saying, of this other way you're going, ah, well, we're screwed up, so might as well, and
yeah,
and then go back to the old ways, right? Mm,
yeah,
yeah, it's easy to drop back in.
mm,
This is part of the. I mean, again, through our training, we were, and Andy's very much. You either drink or you don't. You you can't you can't control it. It's impossible to control. And I sort of disagree with that a little bit. I think you can control it, and I think if you're comfortable enough in yourself, you can recognise it.
mm,
yeah,
Uh, I think it's difficult. It would be very difficult if you have a very addictive personality, because yes, those little mistakes, you're going to turn them into catastrophes. And it is about that looking out for yourself again. It's
yeah,
you've got to take care of number one,
mm.
and you need to treat number one with respect.
Yeah.
you do.
And
Yeah.
the only way you can do that is to be kind to number one. There's no
Mm,
point in beating yourself up. It's like, oh, I'm on a diet. I really want a bacon sandwich this morning. It doesn't mean you're going to put 4 stone on because you've
no,
eaten a bacon sandwich.
Mhm.
And
no.
you could have a
It's
bacon
about looking at the
sandwich.
bigger picture. Yeah,
Yeah,
about looking
you
at
can
the
have a
bigger
bacon
picture, isn't it? And
sandwich.
not just that
Yeah,
one
you can
event.
have
Yeah,
you can have a fry up every day of the week. As
Yeah.
long as you don't do it every week,
Yeah.
you're gonna, it's balance it out over the course
yeah,
of a year.
Yeah.
If you slipped up 14 times, that's 2 weeks out of
yeah,
52 that you've had a drink.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
you've had 50 weeks of not drinking. Is
yeah,
the way to look at it. Is,
yeah,
as long as the odds are in the favour of the habit that you're stopping, then you're winning. You're
Mm,
still winning.
mm.
So
yeah,
you've just got to be gentle with yourselves.
Exactly, and see the positives, definitely. Another thing that comes to me that feels like it's important, and I'm sure you would agree with that, and maybe have some examples, is the importance of, whoever is listening, like your story is unique, and don't consider your relationship with alcohol isolated from everything else in your life. Like it's likely that the method of kindness that Gary's talked about, and anything in coaching, we're going to look at the bigger picture. So not only the bigger picture for you and your relationship with the coaching, but also your life.
yeah,
What are the challenges right now in your life? And the priority could be the relationship with alcohol, but without working on other spheres potentially, this could be difficult to hold on. And there can be connections that you haven't identified. And because there's a pressure on the relationship here, and the health there, and this, and the job there. And if you forget about the bigger picture, then I think there is more chance of the changes that you're going to try to implement to not work if you miss out on everything that's you, and then that's a very unique thing. Yeah.
yeah, I agree. And I think you were touching on this towards the start of the call, Clem, that we use various things as crutches and comfort when we're going through stressful periods of our lives, whether that's short-term stress or chronic stress. And so at the end, I guess it's a bit of a like two sides of the same coin when it comes to stress and alcohol, because alcohol creates stress. I know lots of people listening will argue that it's a stress reliever. I can promise you It's
It's not.
not. Science tells us that. We won't go into that, but it is not a stress reliever. It's a stressor. It puts stress on our body and our minds. But we drink when we're stressed, we eat when we're stressed, we smoke when we're stressed, and
Yeah,
all of those things add stress to our bodies, but we think they are relieving stress.
yeah,
If we are in a state of chronic stress, that's what we need to focus on first,
yeah,
not the smoking, the eating, the drinking, or whatever it is that you are trying to compensate for because you're stressed.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's very layered, and it's not a case of right, this is the one answer, because
yeah,
we're all unique humans with all unique lifestyles and energies and habits and histories, all those past stories that have come with us. So yeah, you're quite right, Clem. It's his a very much a bigger picture and not just let's change this one habit and everything will be hunky dory.
yeah. Wonderful. I hope that this episode was inspiring for the listener. I will let Gary have maybe the final word. Any takeaways or maybe anything that you want to share before we finish?
Um, I think it's great. We're all on this journey.
Hmm.
Um, we're all doing our own thing with it.
Hmm.
And from a coaching perspective, I mean, the thing I would say that we will all get the most out of it, and I think other people will get the most out of it if you do decide to go down the route of alcohol free or alcohol control, whichever way you want to look at it, it's going to improve your life one way or
Yeah,
another.
Yeah,
And once you've got past the fog of the alcohol, you'll find that your world will open up, and you will then get you'll have more goals, you'll have more challenges you want to take on. The world, it will become a clearer place.
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
And this is where people like us are there to help guide you through it
yeah.
and get you to a point where you're actually flourishing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We'll leave it on that because I think it's perfect for the motivation and the inspiration. Thank you so much, Gary and Sue, for this amazing conversation. And we'll see you soon. And we'll be posting, obviously, on all socials with all the links as well to get in touch with Sue, to get in touch with Gary, and with myself. So thank you again so much, guys.
Thank you.
thanks, Callum. Thanks,
Bye.
Gary. Bye for now.